I just thought I'd post my results, having just dyed my CMMG magazines. Managed to get hold of some RIT dye from eBay. Cost about £2.50 per pack. Perhaps a little more with postage, but it was very reasonable. And I got a couple of packs. I actually only used half of one pack in this mix that I created here. I didn't have a stainless steel pan with a large enough base to be able to hold my magazines flat. Well, I did actually, but it was a brand new pan that I bought for my wife not long ago, so I wasn't allowed to use it. So I tried using this Pyrex kind of casserole dish, which seems to have worked really well. I started out by boiling some water in the kettle and pouring that in, then adding the dye to the already hot water, which seems to have worked really well. Right, I've had this simmering now for about 25 minutes, and as we look at the magazines, they've got a really lovely finish, and they've coated really nicely, so I think they've probably been in there long enough. I've actually turned the heat off now, allowing it to cool slightly before I take it over to the sink, because I don't want to be pouring boiling hot dyed water all over myself. So I'm just going to allow it to cool a little bit naturally, and then I'm going to go and empty them out and pour them into the sink. Okay, so I've just carried the pan over to the sink, and apparently the correct procedure now is to pour cold water into the pan, or as I've got here, into the casserole tray, and to just run cold water into the dye until it runs clear. I suppose this helps as well, you're not throwing anything too concentrated down the sink. Well, then again, looks like I am now. Yeah, keep this going for a while, I suppose. Right, because I'm running using a stone sink, I'm having to kind of run a little bit of water into the dye and then dilute it a little bit, because it's quite an old sink that we've got, and I'm paranoid of getting dye into some of the little scratches and things that are in there and getting into trouble with my wife, so hopefully this will do the trick. It's just quite amazing how much dye there actually is in there, even though I only used half a packet. I think this might take a little bit longer than I first thought. So, I'm starting to see the bottom of the pan just over here a little bit. So it shouldn't be long now. There we go. Just about to make out the magazines. So hey. Hopefully it hasn't stained the Pyrex dish either. Oh, there we go. I'll get them out and then take them outside to dry off and see how we get on. It's quite warm outside today, so it didn't take long for these to dry. Just thought I'd show you the results. I'm really pleased with how they've come out actually. They've got a beautiful finish to them. I've seen some that have been RIT dyed and have got a bit of a purpley hue to them in some parts, but these are pretty good. The only place I've got a little bit of a tinge is right here, where the injection moulding has obviously left a little bit of release agent behind or something, and there's this bit of a slight shine, a bit of a purpley, very slight purple tinge in that shiny surface there. I didn't think to kind of give them a bit of a sand or rub over with anything before I dyed them, so I'm pretty pleased with the way they've come, just kind of straight out. Like I said, I've had a really lovely even finish to them. It certainly looks a lot better than the grey standard CMMG magazine colour. So all in all, I'm very pleased, and the shallow shallow kind of casserole dish method seems to have worked really well, so I'm pleased with that. Here's the magazine put back together. Looks great. So there's the little glossy parts from the release agent. Interestingly, it's identical on both halves of the magazine. But yeah, overall, really pleased with the finish, and it looks great. One thing I will say is that the Allen key bolts on these CMG magazines, I don't know whether they're imperial rather than metric, but I found them a little bit fiddly to get an Allen key to fit. I used a ball-ended Allen key, but they were a little bit tricky. But all in all, really pleased with the finish of the RIT die, and it's very easy to do. So if you've been wondering about doing it or not, it's only a half-hour job, and well worth it in my opinion.